Only 2.5 years old, Riot Boyd Vezain walks around the National Finals Rodeo like he owns it. Mom and Dad are teaching him to greet people with a simple, howdy, partner.
Say howdy, partner. Say howdy, partner.
On this particular Friday night in Las Vegas, Riot proudly sports a championship rodeo buckle almost bigger than he is. It belongs to his dad, J.R. Vezain. And here at round 9 of the NFR, Riot and his mom Shelby ride up this escalator and head to their seats inside the mighty Thomas & Mack Center. It's an arena where just a few years ago, J.R. showcased his talents to sell out crowds as one of the world's best bareback riders.
Whoa! Oh!
Thing is, Riot has never seen his dad ride competitively, at least not in person. That's because just a few months before he was born, the unthinkable happened to JR at this rodeo in Texas.
I knew I was just like a duck sitting out of water. She hit and I immediately felt my back break, and when she rolled over, she rolled away from my hand so my hand could come out. As soon as my hand got out, then she got up and gut stomped me right in the guts. I couldn't breathe, I couldn't catch my air, and immediately I went to sit up and I couldn't move my legs. I just barely posted up on my elbows, and I didn't know how bad it was, but I knew it wasn't good.
JR had broken vertebrae in his back and couldn't move from the waist down. But when clarity struck, he vowed, swore up and down, that he would walk again.
The doctor said that he would have very little to no movement and a very slight chance to walk again.
There would be surgeries, endless months of rehab and physical therapy in Texas and Utah, an overwhelming outpouring of support from family, friends, fellow cowboys, and folks he'd never even met. Back on the family's Melstone ranch, they'd convert this garage into his gym.
We call this the Melstone Muscle Maker. This bench, do a bunch of core stuff on here. From my knees, I'll do like squats with this and a ball.
And Shelby's brother, Sage Newman, was right there, literally, to help JR every step of the way, even guiding his feet on this treadmill.
Slow and steady wins the race, right?
But the steps were far from cruise control. Frustrations, dead ends, and disappointments took turns trying to break his spirit.
What's it going to feel like when you walk again?
Oh, frick, it'll be awesome, huh?
Amid the baby steps, Shelby gave birth to Riot.
Tell us a story.
Situation isn't ideal, and it ain't what we had pictured. Definitely ain't what I pictured my first kid, you know what I mean? You expect to be able to stand up, hold them, and throw the ball, and teach them how to saddle their horse, and all that stuff. That's still my goal, is to be able to do all that stuff. But you never picture holding one in a wheelchair, that's for sure, you know.
Wheelchair Dad is all this cowboy had ever known. Until recently.
I've never worked at anything harder in my entire life.
It wasn't until after a series of new tests last spring, JR was approved for just a trial and the very slightest outside chance he might be a candidate for these robotic leg braces.
Sensation, some tingling and burning and stuff like that, so.
Truth is, there weren't many candidates in the entire country.
I think they picked 4 people.
It's a little slow, a little robotic, but
If Jared would have sat in that chair and not stood and worked out for the last 3 years, he wouldn't have been able to do this trial and get that walking machine.
You see, doctors in Texas needed to be sure JR's bones and muscles were healthy enough to even justify these exoskeleton braces. And they were.
And after the first day of being in that machine, I said, I need to get one for at home.
I said, let's do it. And then he told me the price. I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do that?
So, rodeo family rallied together once again. Lori O'Harver with the Bronc Riding Nation put on a fundraiser. Mitch Pollock said, come have an auction at my bronc match. Western Sports Foundation paid for half the machine. It's got a fast mode, a slow mode, kind of do some warming up first.
After enduring more than 3 years of pain and uncertainty, it took less than 2 days for Shelby to notice the difference.
You could just see it on his face, like just to get up and be able to walk.
I didn't realize the change in the mental morale that it would have on me.
I asked him, I said, like, what's the most exciting part of it, you know, because I'm thinking there's something that's just crazy, and he said to literally look somebody in the eye when I'm talking to them. And I'm like, oh my, the little things in life, right?
But the little things took a long time to align. After weeks of testing in Texas, summer passed before the robotics finally arrived.
I got it in Billings on the 14th of October. The company's out of Ohio. They flew in a specialist, trained me and the therapist for a couple days, and then I did another 3 weeks to a month of training on it and had to pass a test.
Which he did. And at that point, the little man became not only more curious, but more excited than ever.
I think the most emotional I've been since the accident was the first time Riot seen JR walk in his walking machine. And Riot said, "Dad, you tall." And then he was just bossing him around. He's like, "Dad, come on."
Come on, Dad, let's walk, he says. He wanted me to carry his jacket. Enough of me taking care of you, you're taking care of me, he said. You probably should have put a t-shirt on to be on the news.
Throughout all this, Shelby's brother, Sage Newman, the unselfish helper, exploded for his best ever year in saddle bronc riding.
The top rookie this year is Sage Newman from Melstone, Montana.
And he qualified for his first NFR. Naturally, that demanded a family road trip to Vegas, where they'd watch all 10 nights.
87 points tonight for second place aboard Double D.
He deserves to be here, and he's worked at it hard a long time, so winners hang with winners, man.
Sage placed in a couple rounds, won over $30,000, and finished 11th in the world. And while he was carving his own name into NFR lore, we visited JR gaining ground on his legwork in the backyard of this Airbnb just a couple blocks off the Vegas Strip. For 3 years, Sage had given everything to JR's recovery, and that didn't stop, even despite being pulled a variety of directions at this first NFR experience.
Sage has been right there every single step of the way. Yeah. Sorry. Even here, like, you would think the kid would be like hanging out with buddies and stuff, and Sage is still making sure JR's wheelchair gets loaded. Like, that's the kind of person he is.
It makes my heart swell up.
His heart wasn't the only one swelling. The big reveal almost nobody saw coming on opening night. JR would crank up his robotic legs, make his way through this downstairs tunnel, and stunningly walk around the corner to surprise his bareback brothers.
There wasn't one guy in there that didn't maybe stand to their feet and clap and go high-five him, shake his hand, hug him, you know.
First night he walked in on his new robotics and standing up, and it's amazing. You know, it gives me goosebumps just thinking about it.
This is home, man. This is my family.
It was JR's first return to the Super Bowl of rodeo since shortly after his wreck in 2018.
I was one of the first guys down to the hospital whenever the accident happened, and that rattled me pretty good, you know.
Him and I both qualified for our first NFR together in 2012, you know, and clear up till his accident, we'd done it every year.
Caleb Bennett, with whom he'd logged thousands upon thousands of rodeo road miles, was one of the few in on it.
We had talked a little bit before he got down here, and he's like, "What do you think about me trying to get down in there? I'd like to walk down there on these robotic legs and show these guys what's up."
JR would hang out all 10 nights, but the final 9 on wheels. On this night, just a half hour before grand entry, he rolls in as bareback riders kick around a hacky sack.
Can I join or what?
First time I saw him on his robotics, I said, "You got spur mode set on that thing yet, or what?"
Seeing him down in there really humbles you and reminds you what life and everything's all about for real.
Every night you get a fist bump from him and you head out, and he wants to see a good spur ride, so we're going to go give him one.
That's one of the most optimistic, inspiring, positive people I've ever been around in my life.
You'll be hard-pressed to find any other answer from any other person to meet JR. And of all the ways he appreciates and describes these life-altering leg braces, permanent isn't one of them.
It's bittersweet. I pictured my first steps being different, but they're steps nonetheless. It takes obedience. I have my rough days too, but I have a job out here, and it's to inspire and encourage people along the way, and that's what I strive to do.
And the one closest to JR and encouraging him Shelby.
She is my rock. On all my bad days, she's there to pick me up, and all the days I want to be lazy, she's prodding me along, reminding me what my dreams and goals are. I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for her.
As for Riot, word is he'll climb on and ride just about anything.
Such a good little helper, and he is heck on his mother, man. He's wild and he's fun and going a million miles an hour. Riding in this arena is one thing, but being a dad makes your heart swell up, makes you want to poke your chest out, and I'm sure proud to be that little boy's dad.
Say howdy, partner.
Howdy, partner.